Vegetable farming is highly profitable when you master the art of making sure at least you have the supply throughout. Have information on how to run your farm. Imagine you've struggled all the way growing your vegetables, and at the end of it you lose it during harvesting and post-harvest stage. Have a program of when to start and when to end.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute invites you for this July and September enrollment. We offer higher diploma, certificate and artisan in School of Agriculture and Animal Health, Engineering Technology, Business and Commerce, Tourism and Hospitality, Mass Communication and Journalism Studies, among many more. Call or email us to register. July 2024 intakes are ongoing. Eldoret Technical Training Institute is an ideology for the betterment of humanity.
I am Caroline Cheboy, a trainer in Eldoret Technical Training Institute. When it comes to vegetables farming, it falls under horticulture in Kenya. One of the profitable enterprises in Kenya that most farmers venture. You find that most of the horticultural enterprises that is profitable in Kenya is vegetables farming. It is highly profitable if a farmer makes sure that there are some factors he or she needs to consider. So in this enterprise of horticulture, you need to consider land as a factor. You need to have land for you to make sure at least your enterprises runs very well. Apart from land, number two, you need to do a market research if it is not for subsistence farming. If you want to do it as an agri-business, you need to do a market research. So apart from market research, you also need to have income or money. So capital is a factor that sometimes we neglect. So you need to have some amount. You also need to know the taste and preferences of the consumers. So you have to do a small market research, maybe within the local markets, within the counties, the national government, or even if you want to export the vegetables, you have to do a small research on the taste and preferences of the customers. So those are major things that you really need to know when you want to start a vegetable enterprise. Domestically, vegetable farming is highly profitable when you master the art of making sure at least you have the supply throughout. It is highly profitable. You've seen the trending. Recently, most people, when it comes to consumption, the consumers have inclined more towards the local vegetables than the exotic ones. So the common and trending vegetables that consumers love majorly nowadays, we have the spider plant. Spider plant in our local language is called isaga. Then we have the black nightshade. The black nightshade, most Kenyans call it managu. So we also have the cowpeas, kunde. That is also a trending one. We have mito. We also have murenda. And those are majorly, although we have others, yeah, those are the major ones. So managu is the leading. Yes. Do not forget the pumpkin leaves. Sure. Also people take the pumpkin leaves. Yeah, it is so much in demand because of the nutritive value in them. They are so nutritious in terms of proteins, in terms of vitamins. It also has what we call medicinal value. In Africa setup, there are so medicinal values that have the They say, for example, it can cure stomachache. When you eat, women who are breastfeeding or lactating mothers get a lot of milk. Yeah, some are rich in iron, so women who are expecting are supposed to eat a lot of local vegetables because we reduce anemic cases because of they are rich in. So those are the benefits and the nutritional value. Although some have, like, it can act as animal feeds, it's only that we've not exploited that area of animal feed. It also acts as a good legume crop that can fix nitrogen in the soil. We have different vegetables depending on the varieties that you want to grow. Is it the exotic ones like the cabbage, sukuma wiki, spinach, onions, carrots, and so on. We also have the local vegetables that are sometimes are planted directly. So for the exotic ones like the kales, the cabbages, the carrots, and onions are planted in the nursery. Then after you prepare your nursery very well, you allow them to grow for a month or 4 weeks, then you do transplanting. But for the local vegetables, we allow you to prepare your land adequately, then you can do direct planting. When it comes to, let me start with the exotic vegetables, cabbages, sukuma wiki, onion, carrots, and others, you need to buy what we call certified seeds. These are seeds that you cannot find them in the farmers' stores, or they are not called farmer-saved seeds. So you need to buy the certified seed from the agrovets, and make sure that the agrovets are the certified one. So when you buy these seeds from the agrovets, that is when now you come and lay your nursery and allow them to grow before you transplant to your main shamba. Yes, but for the local vegetables, you need to make sure, at least apart from the agrovets that can sell the certified seeds, major farmers use their local seeds. After the period of harvesting as a lab, you find farmers allow few vegetables to produce the seeds. Then they dry them and store waiting for the next season. Okay, for correct vegetable growing, doing the right way. You know, if you want to harvest well and have good production and productivity continues for a longer time, we advise farmers, if you want to do it in large scale, you do what we call soil analysis and testing. You need to analyze the soil of your farm, take it to the lab so that you know what are the deficiencies, what are you supposed to add in your farm, and what are you not supposed to not add. But for the small scale, it is not necessarily. So after you've done soil analysis, you will be given the results depending on which type of nutrients that are required in your farm. That's the first step. After doing the soil analysis, then you come and prepare your land. So we encourage farmers to do adequate land preparation depending on previous cropping. So there are some factors you really need to check. You do check on crop rotation, check on primary cultivation, where you need to do secondary cultivations, where you need also to do tertiary operation. Like for the case, this one is a tertiary operation whereby you heap the soil, you make a ridge, you heap the soil so that depending on the type of vegetables you are supposed to grow. So after you've done adequate land preparation, that is when now you are ready to plant. We embrace organic farming. Yeah, we embrace organic farming because it has a lot of advantages compared to inorganic. So I'm not saying we should not use inorganic, but depending on the demand of your farm, like us, we have enough organic manure and that's it. So we go for organic manure. Number one, it is cheap compared to inorganic. Organic manure maintain what we call soil structure. It also maintain what we call cation exchange, and it also help in water holding capacity. Yeah, so those are the advantages of organic. So as earlier I told you that it is good to go and do what we call soil testing, so that you can be told the demand of moisture in your soil in relation to the type of crop. So for the vegetables here in our farm, apart from rainy season is a way of supplementing the moisture, we also do what we call drip irrigation or the drip. So drip, advantages of us choosing drip irrigation over other types of irrigation is it is precise in terms of moisture or water utilization, because where you planted the crop, that is where the water will be dripping, and that's how it is utilized well compared to other types of irrigation. So it utilizes water and it is precise when it comes to water use. So when it comes to vegetables, there are some common diseases that affect vegetables. So we always encourage farmers or any other person who wants to venture into vegetable farming to have a program in mind of making sure at least you control common diseases that are found in the vegetables. Although you need to know that in vegetables farming, different vegetables have got different diseases. So there are some that can cut across, like powdery mildew or downy mildew or rust. So rust is common in dry period, but downy mildew is common during rainy season when the humidity is very high. So you can see this one. So this one is wilting. So it is a fungal disease that is common during rainy period. So we encourage farmers, when you are venturing into these vegetables farming, you need to make sure at least, I want to show you, this is rotting. It is called black rot and it is common during rain. So humidity aids in growth of diseases. So during rainy season, farmers need to have a program on how you are going to control these common diseases in your farm. As far as we encourage use of chemicals, we also encourage farmers to do what we call cultural practices that help them in controlling of these diseases. The best cultural practices that we encourage people is weeding. Make sure your farm is clean throughout the period. Number two, check on spacing. Make sure the spacing is correct. Make sure you also check when it comes to water, you don't over irrigate, because you've seen when the soil is too humid or it has high moisture content, that is when the fungal diseases will develop. You've seen the cases of climate change. Yeah, climate change, they say as chemicals is not environmental friendly. So we encourage farmers to do what we call sustainable agriculture or smart agriculture, whereby even in integrated farming management, IPM, we encourage farmers that let us not stick to chemical should be the last resort. Let us embrace all round. We go for practices that are environmental friendly so that these issues of climate change, the rain pattern is changing because of the too much accumulation of chemicals. Chemicals are not only from the farm. Accumulative nature all throughout make the environment not. So we say let chemicals be the last option. We can still go for other options. So we advocate for integrated management practices. Depending on variety of vegetables, like local vegetables always takes 2 to 4, 5 months. But for these ones, it starts from 3 months to 2 months, depending on the variety, and it continuously grow depending on how well do you manage your vegetables. Horticultural crops, especially vegetables, are highly perishable. So when they are highly perishable, you need to think of how you reduce post-harvest losses. So the first thing I told you initially, that you check on the market so that the time, the surrounding markets or the local market, the time between harvesting to the reaching market should be short as much as possible. Again, when it comes to post-harvest, you need to do what we call correct harvesting. You don't bruise the vegetables, you don't bend them, you do correct harvesting. After harvesting, you take them to a shade or a cool place so that you reduce that temperatures. We call them field heat, which is almost 200. So you place them in a shade. We have our cold room when you are coming this way. That is where we place our vegetables so that we cool the temperatures before we do other post-harvest practices. So we do cooling, we do cleaning, we sort, we package, we do crates or in a nice sack which is ventilated. You are not supposed to compress so much your vegetables when you are transporting. You are supposed to handle with care. You've seen people just handling them carelessly, and that's how we lose post-harvest. And you know, 80% of Kenya's crops are lost through post-harvest. Imagine you've struggled all the way growing your vegetables, and at the end of it, you lose it during harvesting and post-harvest stage. There are vegetables like in our farm. This is a variety of sukuma wiki known as Mfalme F1. So Mfalme F1 can stay in the farm for 1 year if you do proper management practices. So after that 1 year, that is when now you should start thinking on how to plant the next. But it can be less than 6 months, 8 months, depending on how the performance of the vegetables is doing. So before you plant next, you need to start with the nursery. You put your vegetables in the nursery first, then before you start planting. Again, we encourage farmers that embrace crop rotation. You don't have to be planting the same vegetables in the same piece of land throughout. You have to embrace a good crop rotation program. You remember, when you want to come up with a good crop rotation program, you need to know the crops belongs to which family. We say that in crop rotation program, crops of the same family share so many things. One of them is diseases, pests, weeds, and nutrient depletion. So you need to make sure you have a good crop rotation program, so that when you rotate, and you will be able to reduce the pests, you will be able to reduce the diseases, and make sure there is enough sustainable nutrients in your soil for a long period of time. Also, soil structure is maintained when you do a good crop rotation program. Horticulture, especially vegetable farming, is highly profitable enterprise that each and every farmer can diversify in his farm. So I could encourage a farmer, if you want to venture into commercial vegetable farming, the first thing you have to do is you do a market research. You need to know who are your customers, what are the tastes and preferences of your customers, the local market within you see. Then you also need to make sure at least to have information on how to run your farm. You cannot just wake up and plant. Have a program of when to start and when to end. So some people just plant and you expect it to grow. You need to have a plan on how to manage your farm. You need skilled information, skilled labor, and so on. So that is also very, very important. Yeah. The market price, when it comes to agricultural produce, there are factors that affect the demand. You understand? So seasonality, you find that sometimes they are in season and off season. So like when it is rainy season, everybody wants to grow vegetables, and you find the market is flooded. Yeah, so you need to know how to balance the seasonality issue. So when it is rainy, vegetables will be enough, so you find the prices definitely will be lower. But when you go off season, that is when you will fetch more prices. Most vegetables are harvested weekly. So you, in 1 meter square, you, depending on productivity, you harvest almost 2 kilograms of vegetables, and you find that farm price per kilo is 30 shillings. But when you go to the market prices, the kilo is 50 shillings. So if 1 meter you can harvest 2 kilograms, assume now all this up to that end, depending on your size of the land. So for me, I think it is profitable. Yes. Agriculture is a good cause. I've trained so many students, and you get the impact that everybody has done something. Either you are working for yourself, working for the government, county government, and also doing what we call self-employment. You've seen that if every day, what do you think about food? You want to eat? Yes. Where do you get the food? In agriculture. Yeah. So I would encourage students to come and learn about agriculture, because agriculture is part and parcel of our life.